When the Canon EOS R3 was introduced in 2021, it immediately positioned itself as a very deliberate statement from Canon toward professional sports, wildlife, and action photographers. It wasn't trying to be a general-purpose hybrid camera for everyone. Instead, it felt focused, intentional, and clearly shaped around real-world speed and reliability. Many photographers who had experience with Canon's older 1D series instantly recognized that same philosophy carried forward. The camera felt solid in hand, almost dense in a reassuring way, and it gave users a sense that it was built for demanding assignments where timing matters more than anything else. Even a short hands-on experience was enough for many professionals to understand its purpose. Now the conversation is shifting toward what comes next, and that naturally brings attention to the Canon EOS R3 Mark II. Although Canon has not made any official announcement, discussions around this potential successor have started to grow steadily within the professional photography community. Early information and industry speculation are enough to spark curiosity, especially when considering how much the mirrorless camera landscape has evolved since 2021. The question is no longer just whether Canon will release a successor, but how it will position it in a market that has become significantly more competitive and technologically advanced. Timing plays an important role in this discussion. Canon has a history of aligning major professional camera announcements with global sporting cycles and large international events. With major sporting competitions like the Olympics often acting as strategic launch windows, it becomes natural to wonder whether a future announcement for the Canon EOS R3 Mark II might follow a similar pattern. At the same time, the original R3 has now been on the market for several years, which is a long product cycle for a camera aimed specifically at fast-action professionals. In the camera industry, especially in the high-performance segment, 4 years is enough time for expectations to shift significantly. During this period, the entire mirrorless camera market has evolved rapidly. Sony has pushed forward with global shutter technology in its higher-end bodies, aiming to eliminate rolling shutter issues entirely in fast motion scenarios. Nikon has refined its stack sensor performance and improved its high-speed shooting capabilities across multiple models. Canon, on the other hand, introduced the EOS R1 as a flagship response to the growing competition at the top end of the professional lineup. With all of these developments happening across the industry, it is natural to start questioning where a camera like the Canon EOS R3 Mark II would fit into this ecosystem. More importantly, what role would it serve without overlapping too heavily with Canon's higher-end offerings? This is where expectations begin to form more quietly and realistically. Rather than expecting radical reinvention, most discussions around the Canon EOS R3 Mark II focus on refinement and targeted improvement. One of the most important aspects of this conversation is the sensor direction. The original EOS R3 used a 24-megapixel stack CMOS sensor, which was never designed to compete in resolution wars. Instead, it prioritized speed, fast readout, reduced rolling shutter, and consistent performance during high-action shooting. That philosophy was intentional, because for sports and wildlife photographers, capturing the moment cleanly is far more important than having extremely high-resolution files. For the Canon EOS R3 Mark II, expectations suggest that Canon may continue along this same path rather than dramatically increasing megapixel count. In fact, many professionals believe that maintaining a moderate resolution could still be the best choice for this category of camera. A higher resolution sensor could introduce trade-offs in buffer depth, burst performance, and processing speed, all of which are critical in fast-paced shooting environments where moments happen only once. Instead of focusing on raw pixel numbers, the emphasis may remain on readout speed, efficiency, and responsiveness. There is also growing speculation about whether Canon might explore a sensor design that moves closer to global shutter-like performance or at least significantly reduces rolling shutter artifacts. While true global shutter implementation would be a major shift, even incremental improvements in this direction would have a noticeable impact in real-world scenarios. Sports stadiums, for example, often use LED lighting systems that can create banding issues with certain shutter behaviors. Fast-moving subjects can also produce distortion if sensor readout is not fast enough. Reducing these issues would immediately improve image quality in professional assignments without requiring photographers to change their shooting style. Alongside sensor development, high ISO performance remains a critical expectation. The original EOS R3 already performed impressively at higher sensitivities, producing usable results well beyond ISO 12800 in many situations. This capability is especially important for wildlife photographers working in early morning or late evening light, as well as sports photographers shooting indoors under mixed lighting conditions. If the Canon EOS R3 Mark II continues to prioritize clean high ISO performance, it would reinforce its identity as a reliable working tool rather than a spec-driven showcase. Another important factor in this evolution is the processing pipeline. Canon's digic processors have been refined over many years, but the increasing demands of modern autofocus systems, AI-driven subject detection, and high-speed image processing are pushing older architectures closer to their limits. The introduction of additional processing support, such as dedicated AI acceleration hardware, suggests Canon is already moving in the direction of more intelligent imaging systems. For the Canon EOS R3 Mark II, a refreshed processing architecture could result in faster autofocus decisions, improved noise handling, and smoother tonal transitions, all of which directly benefit real-world shooting performance. In the end, cameras at this level are not judged by specifications alone. They are judged by performance in real situations where timing, reliability, and consistency matter most. And until more concrete information becomes available, the conversation around the Canon EOS R3 Mark II will continue to live in that space between expectation and possibility, shaped by both industry evolution and the real needs of working professionals.